but up to 0 to 9 we use the numbers, and for 10 to 15 we use these alphabets. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's how we use these hexadecimal numbers. In networking, where we use, suppose this entire networking, if you consider, in the networking, we use three types of addresses. In the networking, use three types of addresses for communication. So one is IP addressing. In this IP addressing, we have two types, IPv4 and IPv6. IPv4, it is 32-bit address, and for representing any binary is there. Okay, so I can say binary is default for all. Okay, binary and decimal. Okay, next is IPv6. If you have any question, you can ask me in between. IPv6 is 128 bits. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And this binary is default for all. We'll say binary and hexadecimal numbers. Okay, we use to represent these IPv4. We use a binary and decimal. For IPv6, we use a binary and hexadecimal numbers. Okay, so mainly hexadecimal numbers we use to represent IP V6. Okay, so that's the reason we have to understand this number system first before understanding these things. Then second one is MAC address. MAC means, any idea, Karthik?
Yes,
Karthik,
sir.
media
Uh,
access
Exa
control.
will use hexadecimal.
MAC address, yes. So MAC address, so this is uh, 48 bits, no?
Yes, sir.
48 bits address, and you can say it is again. Okay, so hexadecimal number. Yes, the
Yes, sir.
binary any default is there, hexadecimal number. Third address is, any idea? Which is the third address we use in the system?
IP. Sorry, IP over MAC over.
Port address, no? Port or
Okay.
service address. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Address. Okay, so this is how many bit address? Any idea?
No, sir.
16 bits address, and it use binary and decimal idea. Now in the networking, all the systems, they use all these three addresses. Okay, IP address, MAC address, and port address. Sorry, addressing I'm writing address. Okay, so all these three types of where and when they will use this address. Suppose consider now you are sending a letter. Okay, so from Bangalore to your hometown. Yes, so
Okay.
both are in the same state. Okay, even you can send to the different state, different country also. Both are in the same state, but they are in a different district, taluka, and village. Okay, so now consider, so you are sending from, I will write Bangalore to Belgaum. Okay, so Belgaum. Okay, so I'll write my this taluka is Hutteri. I will write. Then Sankeshwar. So then I'll write my phone number 30 something. Okay. So then
Okay.
it has to contact me, Sanjay. Okay. So from here, someone is sending, or from Bangalore, you are sending. Consider. Karthik. Think is correct or no?
Yeah, correct, correct, correct.
Okay. Karthik, it should TI, no? It should come TI, no?
No,
Or
sir.
THI.
THIK. Correct.
Okay. Okay. So this is okay. So now here, this is in different network, different place. This is in different place. Okay. So this is different place. This is different place, and this 30 is the home number. Okay. You consider it is a home number. Yes or no? In
Yes, sir.
that, once you reach, then this is the person. Yeah. This is the person whom you have to hand over that. Your okay, fine. Okay, so now this font, yeah, fine. It's coming down. That's the reason. Okay, so now consider Bangalore to here, Belgaum. It use IP address because you are changing the network. Yes,
Hmm. Yes, sir.
yes, sir. You are changing the network. It are using the IP address from Belgaum to Hukkeri. Again, we are using the IP address because you are changing the network from Hukkeri to Sankeshwar. Again, you are changing the network IP address from Sankeshwar to particular home. Okay, so here once this means this is the last destination network. Yes, destination village. From here, letter will not go any post office. That is the last post office. Yes, sir. No?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So from there, the postman has to deliver that letter to the this particular home person who is staying in this home. Yes. So that
Yes.
means you have reached your destination network. Now you have to go to the particular system in that network. Particular system in that network. Yes or no? You have to
Yes,
go to
sir.
the particular system in that network. So what you have to, how you will find your particular system in that network? Based on IP address or MAC address.
Uh, Based on IP and
So you are connecting your system to the switch or router.
switch, sir.
It's
Switch under which switch understand MAC address or IP address.
IP address.
Karthik.
Sir.
Switch
Actually,
understand MAC address. It
it
works on
understands
the.
the and it assigns IP, sir.
No, no, it won't assign IP, it won't do anything. It understands MAC address, and based on the MAC address, it forwards the frame to the next. We will discuss all those in the when we discuss about the switch, and practically I
Okay.
will prove and demonstrate also how it is working. Okay, it maintains
Okay,
the
sir.
MAC table. So that
Fine.
we will discuss. So it understand the MAC address. So here what will happen once your packet is reach this particular village, then
Hmm.
from that post office, last post office, it has to use the MAC address to reach that home. Okay, so means
Okay.
to once you reach your network, consider your office, then you have to go to the particular system or server which is hosting. Suppose your server is acting as a web server, the request will go to the web server only, not other server, a mail
Yes, sir.
server. Yes. So that is
Yes, sir.
how. So for that service, it has to reach a particular server or a system in that network. To reach the network, we are using the IP address. It is changing the network. It is changing
Mm-hmm.
the network. But once it reaches that particular destination network, it has to go to the particular system in that network. So in this case, it uses a MAC address. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, use a MAC address. Once it reach that system, then in that system, same server, you consider the same server, you can configure as a web server also, mail server also, file server also, yes or no, print server also. When it is supporting a multiple services, then your request should contact a particular service. Suppose you are accessing a website, then it should contact the HTTP service in that server. Yes, if you are accessing a file server FTP, it should contact the FTP server service in that system, same system, but it you have installed configure installed and configured multiple roles. Can we do multiple configurations? Can we configure a single server for multiple roles?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we can make same server as web server also, DHCP server also, DNS server also, file server also. In that case, whenever the request is coming for web server, it should contact the particular service which is running in that server. When it's if it is acting as a file server, it contact the file service FTP. If it is acting as a DHCP server, it contact DHCP service. If it is acting as a DNS server, it has to contact the DNS server. Means you have to contact a particular service which is running in that system. System is same here. Now we are reached that particular system with help of MAC address. Now we want to reach the service, means person, actual person, hand over that letter to the person. Means I want to communicate with the service which is hosted by that server or a system. So in this case, I use a port address. How it works. Understood? So these are the addresses they use. It means here network is changing and you are using a router to forward the packet. The packet. Okay. Router I'll just mention. You can write in your words. Okay. Router from here to here. From here we are using a switch. Low I switch. Okay. So here. Then here we use a PC. Is that clear now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
This is how you are using, in the networking. Yes,
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Karthik and Viresh.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Viresh, are you able to understand or you have any
Yes, sir.
confusion in this?
Yes, sir.
I
I am
understand.
understanding.
Okay, this is how actually in the networking we use all these addresses. So port address is example, that is your HTTP. Okay, so example HTTP address is 80. Yes or no? HTTP is 443. These all we call as a port addresses for particular
Yes, sir.
service.
443 like that.
Yeah,
442. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, understood, sir.
Okay, and here when you say here again, we use something like a PDU, protocol data unit. We'll discuss all these details when you go through the OSI model. So in the network, when it is changing, the PDU we call as a packet. This we call as a PDU. Any idea what is PDU? Protocol data unit, and in switch we call as a frame, and in a PC we call as a port address. It uses segment.
Okay.
Okay, so that means I'll write here the protocol. We'll discuss all these again in detail. Data unit. Okay, the protocol data unit, that is PDU in network layer. Okay, it's a OSI model. Don't worry about this statement. Okay, we'll discuss. So the protocol data unit in network layer is called packet, and each packet hold the source and destination IP address. Okay, so then next is the protocol, and this is the PDU network layer. Network layer is which layer of the OSI model? Huh? Network layer is layer 3 of the OSI model.
Okay.
OSI model. Okay, images. We are going to discuss in detail. Okay, so here you can see, here also they have given much complicated one. See, 1 physical layer, 2 data link, 3 network, 4 transport, 5 session, 6 presentation, and 7th is application layer. And they are written, see there, frame, data link, network packets they are written.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
transport end-to-end connection, TCP, UDP. Means each one, either STTP you take, it's a TCP follows. Okay, DHCP it follows a UDP. What is TCP is transmission control protocol, UDP is user datagram protocol. So, okay, so it means connection will be established between the source and destination before sending a data. That is TCP. So if your client, suppose you will go to the browser and type google.com, your system has to establish a connection with the Google server before getting this page. That is follows a TCP, STTP. UDP is DHCP. DHCP will not establish the connection because client does not have the IP address. It needs the IP address from the DHCP server. So it goes the UDP, but still they communicate. Means UDP means it is broadcast. Yeah, it will just broadcast who is there, so he will accept and reply. It is like that. We don't know where exactly that destination is present or not, but still we are sending the information. Okay, so it is like that. So we'll discuss all those things detail. Just you to understand these terminologies, frame, packets, and here the segment will come. Okay, okay, so this is why I'm telling, because once you understand these addresses, where we are using these addresses, you now this time you should not worry about how it works, how to configure, how to test. You have to understand we use 3 types of addresses in the networking, and these addresses are used like this, okay, for communication, and these addresses will be understand by these particular devices. Okay, so that's what you have to understand right now. Viresh, any
Sir.
confusion in this?
No, sir.
Okay, so because Karthik knows bit, so I'm asking you so they can. Uh, okay, if you have any difficulties to understand till this point, is it clear for you? This
Yes,
till
sir.
this
Yes, sir.
point.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yeah, and this is the main. If you understood this one, you understood the networking. Simple. This what now it is showing here. This is the main thing. Okay, if you understood this concept, it's like that your networking is completed. Because most of the people, if you ask, they will not understand why we use these addresses and where which device will use that one and why. Okay, so this is the reason. So the protocol data unit in network layer is called packet, and each packet holds the source and destination IP address. That's the reason I've written here packet, and this packet is forwarded by the router. Okay, so that's the reason I've written here router. Okay, so the device which forwards the packet is router. Yes, but the packets is router. Yeah, so this is now the protocol data unit in which one? Data link layer is called frame. And each frame hold the source and destination MAC
MAC
address. The device which forward the frames is what?
Switch.
Which device?
Switch.
Yes, which. So then protocol data unit in transport layer. Transport layer is called segment. Each segment hold the source and destination port address, the device which forward and
PC.
understand and the
Segment.
is PC. Okay.
PC.
PC.
Okay.
PC.
Okay, so it means actually the port address. Okay, to contact a particular service which is running in that device. Okay, so that is to contact service running in that system or server. Okay, understood?
Okay, sir.
This is about these three types of addresses we use in the entire networking. Okay, I hope you understood all these terminologies. Now what is IP, what is MAC, what is port. Okay, so which device use those addresses, how it recognize, and these are the network layer. It's a layer 3, it's a layer 2, it's a layer 4. Okay, so that is data link layer. I will share this image also. That's I downloaded OSI model. So we are going to discuss in detail about that also later. So where is that image? Yeah. See, data link layer we called as a frame. Yes, the frame means it the switch understands. See there mentioned the here device also switch. Yes, so switch understand the frame. So frame means so that is it holds a source and destination MAC address. So switch works on the MAC address. Packets, the router, I have mentioned router, understand the packet. Each packet holds a source and destination IP address. They have
Yes.
mentioned IP here. And here the device. So system or server can understand that port address. That's what we call as a segment. Okay, so segment holds a source and destination port address. The protocol data unit in transport layer we call as a segment. Protocol data unit in network layer we call as a packet. Protocol data unit in data link layer we call as a frame. Okay. Yeah, so now we'll continue with the number system now. Okay, so first is already we know that these number systems